Did you know that approximately 750,000 Canadians are living with Alzheimer's disease or another form of dementia? By 2030, nearly 1 million people in Canada could live with dementia, which is a 51% increase in the number of new dementia cases a year. However, there are some risk factors they're in our control, and they can help reduce our chances of getting dementia. So I reached out to a specialist in the field, Dr. José Morais, who is on the line with me, and Dr. Morais is Director, Division of Geriatric Medicine, McGill University, and he's the lead for the McGill Dementia Education Program, working closely with a bunch of leaders, including Claire Webster, who I've had on the show a couple of times. Well, Dr. Morais, welcome to Life Unrehearsed.
Good afternoon. Pleased to be here.
Well, I'm so glad you could join us. I know you're in your car and you are a busy person, so I thank you for taking some time here. And Dr. Morais, the Alzheimer's Disease International has a list of 14 modifiable risk factors for dementia. And I'm going to rattle them off really, really quickly here. Physical inactivity, smoking, excessive alcohol consumption, air pollution, head injury, infrequent social contact, less education, obesity, hypertension, diabetes, depression, hearing impairment, untreated vision loss, and elevated LDL levels. Now, Dr. Morais, it used to only be 12 modifiable risk factors. The last two I mentioned were recently added, untreated vision loss and elevated LDL levels. Can you talk to those two specifically?
Yes, certainly. You have to know that there is what we call the Lancet Standing Commission on Dementia, and this group of experts on dementia search literature every 4 years and come up with a report in which they bring evidences if there is any other new modifiable risk factor for dementia, especially Alzheimer's. And since the previous one that came out in 2020, there has been two others that were identified, one of which is the LDL cholesterol, the so-called bad cholesterol. And this is for middle age. So at middle age, we have to check cholesterol. Cholesterol used to be a problem related to cardiac disease, but it is also affecting circulation to the brain and causes dementia. There is a strong link between Alzheimer's and vascular risk factors, and now it's become clear. And the weight of that risk factor is quite intense. It contributes to 7% of all dementia cases, all Alzheimer's cases. Later in life, then it is vision impairment, which is associated indirectly with decreased contact and isolation, which is very bad for the brain of older people. So these two new factors are important to control. I would say that what this recent report tells us is that near 50% of risk factors for dementia, we have some control over it. So this is very good news.
Very good news is right. Very encouraging, and also a little concerning, seeing that they are modifiable. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. You're listening to Life Unrehearsed. Matt Del Vecchio here, and I'm talking to Dr. José Morais about the 14 modifiable risk factors for dementia. Now, Dr. Morais, you mentioned those two added ones, the vision loss and higher elevated LDL levels. If you could talk about two or three of the other modifiable risk factors that you see quite often in your dealings with families.
Yes, I mean, there is factors that happen at different stages of life. In early years, what is important is the number of years of education. So it's been associated, if you have less than 12 grades, with dementia. So education is important. Later in life, then is the vascular risk factors. And if you sum all of them, bad cholesterol, hypertension, diabetes, obesity, smoking, you have about a third of all the risk factors. So 15% out of 45 is vascular risk factors, and this is middle age, you know. So we can control them by having blood pressure checked, diabetes checked. If it is a health problem, a health issue, the bonus is on us to regulate, control it as much as possible with the aim of preventing dementia. In the previous 30 years, we were not considering dementia as something to really prevent, but things have changed, and there is scientific evidence to the effect that if you control many of these modified risk factors, you decrease the chance of developing dementia, which has a tremendous effect in our lifestyle and quality of life.
Very encouraging. You know that that this can be controlled, and as you've mentioned, this is to help prevent dementia. Dr. Jose Morais on the line, and Dr. Morais, while I have you on the line, there is still yet a cure for dementia. This is a worldwide researching going on. A lot of money and resources being put towards this. Can you give us, our listeners, an update on any progress that's being made in the medical field to find a cure for dementia?
Yes, there has been for the past, I would say, 5 to 7 years, a new line of medications to control dementia. It's not every person that is a candidate to receive them, but these are what we call immune regulators of the abnormal protein deposits in the brain, the amyloid protein. So these new immune medications, up to now, they are given intravenously. They have been proven to remove these abnormal depositions of protein in the brain with some good results. However, it has to be in cases that are at the early stages, so that there is not too much damage already in the brain. And second, there is risks. It's why it's not every person that is a candidate, because in the process of removing these abnormal deposits, some hemorrhagic accidents can take place, so there is a risk, and we have to select patients or participants or very, very attentively. But there is hopes, and the hope is also that in the future there will be molecules that can be given orally as opposed to intravenous treatments, and with less adverse effects.
Well, good to hear, and we wish you. I know you're very much involved in the research field as well, and trying to make a difference for people around the world. Talking with Dr. Jose Morais about dementia and some of the modifiable risk factors. Dr. Morais, very, very quickly, we have about 30 seconds left. You are one of the founders of the McGill Dementia Education Program. Such an incredible resource. Can you quickly tell us about it and how our listeners can get more information from the Dementia Education Program?
Certainly, it's easy to access to internet. Just write on your browser, McGill Dementia Education Program, and then you're going to have access to our webpage, in which you will see the diversity of available resources. This includes a book for caregivers to understand what dementia is about and prepare themselves for what is coming up. But we also have modules that they can go through, 10 of them, that covers many aspects of the disease, so they can be aware and understanding what it is about, because understanding is power, and this can prevent burnout. We also have support to caregivers through a program called McGill Cares, and there is also other I would say, resources such as a book on activities to do with loved ones who might have dementia, which is important. Absolutely. And there is other things that they can see on the webpage of McGill Dementia Education Program.
Yeah, it just keeps growing and growing. McGill Dementia Education Program. You talked about that book called the McGill Dementia Guide. It's available in over a dozen languages. You can download it for free. Great, great work for you and the whole team. Dr. Morais, thank you for coming on the show.
My greatest pleasure.
All right.
Bye.
That's Dr. Jose Morais. Dr. Morais is the Director, Division of Geriatric Medicine at McGill University.